Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Today is August 2nd, 2022 for our regular scheduled Board and County Commission meetings. This is going to be a long meeting today. Thank you for joining us. And if we could, please stand for the invocation. I have a few announcements to make before the invocation. If we could, this month has been very trying on Lee County. If we could have a moment of silence. This past month, we lost Commissioner John Manning, passed away. Nick Warden, who is the Lee County EMT, who served our county. George Tice was a local veteran advocate. And of course, Leroy Nottingham, who is no former fire commissioner and longtime fire chief here in Lee County and the city of Fort Myers. We lost all four of them. Could we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you, Pastor. Please lead us in the invocation.
Let us pray. Our almighty, holy, and gracious God, we acknowledge it is in your mercy only that we live, move, and have our being, and your glory shines throughout the world. We are especially grateful that you've given us this good land as our heritage, and for being citizens of this great nation, where people of all faiths can live together in harmony without fear of reprisals or recriminations, where all are free and can work to realize our dreams. And it is our prayer that you make us always remember your generosity and constantly do your will. By your holy prophet, you also taught your ancient people to seek the welfare of the cities in which they lived. And so we commend our neighborhood and our beloved county to your care, that it might be kept free from social strife and decay. As our Board of Commissioners gather for this meeting here on this day, we also pause to remember our schools as they prepare to begin yet another school year, that you bless and protect our precious students so they would not only increase in wisdom and stature as they learn and grow, but also gain favor from you and all those who care for them. Grant also our administrators, teachers, and helpers, and school board members an abundance of your wisdom as they serve and share their hearts to welcome and love our students. And may we make sure to show them love and respect in return. Now, even as we gather to remember and celebrate the life of Commissioner Frank Mann just a month ago today, recognizing his many years of selfless service to this community and beyond, we pray for our commissioners here that they may continue to do their work in a spirit of wisdom, kindness, and justice. Help them use their authority to serve faithfully and to promote the general welfare that they may create here in Lee County as community of justice and peace, where your will may be done. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Bill Tong, Covenant Presbyterian Church. Thank you. Please join us in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. As we grieve the loss of many's, work in Lee County continues to go on. We also have to celebrate. And that I could wish Commissioner Greenwell the best of luck and congratulations on your first day here at work. And with this time, we'll be doing a swearing-in ceremony for Commissioner Mike Greenwell. States will be administering the oath. And Good job, Commissioner Greenwell. You hit a home run there, and
Thank you.
wish you the best of luck. And I will tell you that you have some big shoes to fill, and I know you're going to do a good job. I guess we can talk a little bit about the old stuff. I know Commissioner Greenwell from many years ago. You were privileged to come in at us all many, many years ago, and me and Mike probably cooked you the best patty melt of grilled cheeses at the Garden of Eden for many years. So,
Been here a long time.
yeah, we both had hair then, but we definitely. But I know Mike's passion. I saw Mike's passion in high school. He focused on two things. That was family and baseball. And if his dedication, what he did in high school with baseball, I was going to school and focused on being a police officer in the future. Mike was focused on baseball. It was either baseball and family, that was it. And he was so determined. I've never seen somebody with such motivation to do what he did from high school to go to baseball. If he brings that motivation to Lee County will be in good hands. So thank you, Mike, for stepping up and doing this job in the time that we needed somebody. So
Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Commissioner Hammond or any of the commissioners like any comments?
Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Well, I grew up in the Northeast. My mother was a diehard Yankee fan, so she's looking down, going. But no.
But she
rest of
was
the
a
family's
baseball
all-
fan, that's all
As
that
my family said, it's not the Red Sox, it's the Sox. So I'm transitioning, so welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mike. Looking forward to working with you. And we already talked about the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry. We're both good basketball fans, so appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you very much. And next, we have some ceremonials to do. We'll go ahead, I see Kitty's here waiting in the wings here. We'll go ahead and bring Kitty up and the staff from Animal Services, Karen and Pablo, will come up real quick. And Kitty is like 2 years old, and she is looking for a home. She's really shy, but she's an adorable pet. And if anybody's looking for anything, we have some great services going on this month, clean out the shelters.
It's Clear the Shelters with NBC Universal and Telemundo. It's a national promotion that we do every year. It's our 5th year. It's their 8th year, and it runs all month. We have $25 dog adoptions, $20 and adopt a feline and get a feline friend at no additional charge. And then on the 27th is our promotion all day with waived adoption fees. And of course, we want you to get your application in ahead of time because we'll be packed. It's our all-day event. It's our biggest event of the year. So come on out and please adopt Kitty ahead of time. She's an absolute sweetheart. So that's what's going on this month. So we're full.
Great. Well, thank you for everything. Thank you, everybody, and all your staff for everything you're doing in Lee County for all the animals. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next ceremony, we have Commissioner Hammond.
Thank
As
you,
the
Mr.
ceremony.
Chairman. Yeah. Can I have the folks from Daniel Wayne Homes please come stand at the podium while I read this resolution into the record? Yeah. Good morning. How are you this morning? Good morning. We're great. Good. Congratulations on your 30th anniversary. It's big for any business to reach that milestone, and we're proud to recognize it this morning here at the Board of County Commissioners. So I'll read the resolution as follows, and then we'll take a picture, and then if you could say a few words after we take our picture, that'd be great. Okay? All right, here we go. Whereas Daniel Wayne Homes, a family-owned, award-winning custom home builder based in Fort Myers, is celebrating its 30th anniversary, and whereas Daniel Wayne Homes has acquired a reputation for building exceptional and sought-after neighborhoods and communities in Lee County, such as Hammock Creek, Coconut Creek, Calusa Creek, and Horse Creek, as well as fine custom homes honoring the old Florida style with designs that have received the Lee Building Industry's Parade of Homes Awards in such categories as Best Kitchen, Best Overall Design, Most Energy Efficient Home, and Best Landscaping. And whereas Daniel Wayne Homes has helped more than 750 residents call Southwest Florida their home with a pledge of honoring the environment and upholding family values, they have created relationships based on candid, professional, personalized, and honest communication through every step of construction. And whereas Daniel Wayne Homes is founded and is still led by longtime Fort Myers resident Dan Dordrell, who has combined innovative designs, expert management, and excellent relationships to create one of the premier custom home builders in Southwest Florida, and who is philanthropically involved, giving back to his community and beyond as a result. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby congratulate Daniel Wayne Homes on its 30th anniversary and recognizes this home builder's achievements and contributions to the community. It's executed this second day of August 2022 by our chairman, Cecil Pendergrass. Congratulations on your anniversary, folks. Come take a picture with us.
Got one more. One more for the official county.
Official record. We love to celebrate our job creators. Dan, if you'd like to just share just a brief comment from the podium, that would be great.
Well, and this is our anniversary, as a 50-year resident of Lee County, we've always tried to improve the county, and good leadership from the Board of County Commissioners has allowed road growth and opened up areas of development that we 50 years ago previously didn't think were available. So it's just trying to be a good team player for the county and leave it a little bit better place than when we found it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations again, everybody.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hammond. We saved the best for last. We'd like to honor the Commissioner Mann's family, a tribute to Commissioner Mann from the State Representatives, House of Representatives. Jenna Persons would like the Mann family to come up, who would like to represent the family. Good morning, Ian. Morning.
That's cool.
Morning, Mary. Thanks for coming down. Thank you all for coming down. Franklin, good morning. Good morning. Jenna, thank you for doing this in your delegation.
You're welcome. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, on behalf of the entire Lee County delegation, as chair of the delegation, and on behalf of Senators Pasadomo, Albritton, Rodriguez, and Representatives Roach, Gianlombardo, and Botana, it is truly an honor to be here to recognize and celebrate the legacy of Frank Mann and his service to the state of Florida, not only from the years in the legislature, but from the decades here at home, working together with his wife and his family and our community that he so dearly loved. And now I'll read the tribute. A tribute on behalf of the Lee County delegation. Whereas Franklin Frank B. Mann was born on August 29, 1941, to George T. Mann and Barbara Balch Mann at Lee Memorial Hospital in Fort Myers, Florida. And whereas Frank graduated from Fort Myers High School, go Green Wave, in 1959, and continued his education at Vanderbilt University, where he received his political science degree in 1963. And whereas Frank married his childhood sweetheart, Mary Lee, and together they raised 2 sons and celebrated their 61st wedding anniversary on June 1st, 2022. And whereas in 1974, Frank began his career in public service representing Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties in the Florida House of Representatives from 1974 to 1982, and thereafter serving in the Florida Senate for 4 years. And whereas during his time in the legislature, Frank championed for environmental protection and comprehensive planning, with his top priority being to enhance the quality of life in this state by preserving and expanding public lands in the face of constant growth. And in 1986, he became his party's nominee for lieutenant governor. And whereas in 1993, Governor Lawton Chiles first appointed Frank to the Lee County Commission, where he thereafter returned in 2006 and continued to serve until his passing, serving for a total of nearly 17 years, and is remembered for always saying, "Be careful with paradise," as he fought to preserve the beauty of Lee County. And whereas the Lee County Board of County Commissioners named a conservation preserve in Lehigh Acres, Frank Mann Preserve, in his honor, and whereas Frank faithfully served his Savior, his family, and his community until he peacefully passed on June 21st, 2022, at the age of 80, surrounded by family. Now, therefore, be it respectfully proclaimed that Franklin Frank B. Mann be recognized and remembered for his lifelong commitment to public service for this state and his leadership in his community. And I'd like to present this tribute to the Frank Mann family in remembrance of him and his service with gratitude. Thank you, Mary Lee.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you. Well, thank you to our delegation for that tribute, and thank you to the Mann family for being here today. Well, gentlemen, that was our last ceremonial, and we have to go to work now. So we have a recap, and we have no items to be voted on the recap. We will go to the consent item. Items to be pulled for discussion by the board.
Mr. Chairman, may I just offer a question real quick? Item number 1 on our administrative agenda also recognizes Commissioner Mann. Should we pull that up and vote on it while his family's still here to see it?
Yes. Yes, sir. Administrative item 1. Roger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This morning, we're asking for your formal approval with a ceremonial resolution renaming GS 10 Preserve as Frank Mann Preserve. Ms. Brady, will you present the item, please?
Good morning, Commissioners. Christine Brady, as our county manager just mentioned, this is approval for the renaming of GS 10 Preserve to Frank Mann Preserve. I do have a ceremonial resolution here, Mr. Chair. I didn't know if you would like to read it in for the record or if you would like for us to.
Board? Yes, please.
Okay. Whereas Lee County acquired a 625-acre East Lee County parcel, formerly known as Greenbrier Swamp, at Section 10, and that parcel became known as the GS 10 Preserve in April 2019, and whereas GS 10 Preserve was purchased through Lee County Conservation 2020 program, which is Lee County's environmental acquisition and management program that has now surpassed preservation of 30,000 acres. Preservation lands help the county protect drinking water, provide nature-based recreational opportunities, mitigate flooding, and improve wildlife habitat. And whereas Lee County Commissioner Frank Mann was a lifelong resident of Lee County and prioritized preservation of our local environment and exceptional quality of life in Southwest Florida, Commissioner Mann's public service included the Florida House of Representatives, the Florida Senate, and Lee County's District 5. And whereas throughout his public service career, Commissioner Mann advocated to preserve rural Florida values and maintain Florida's natural beauty and ecology for future generations by supporting issues such as improving water quality and protecting open spaces. And whereas Commissioner Mann will be remembered for advocating for the people of East Lee County for the recreational opportunities, amenities, and preserves in Alva and Lehigh Acres, and whereas the Lee Board of County Commissioners wishes to name the GS 10 property as the Frank Mann Preserve in memory of the Commissioner Mann, who passed away June 21st, 2022. Therefore be it resolved that the land owned by Lee County as known as GS 10 shall henceforth and forever be known as Frank Mann Preserved. Signed by our Board of County Commissioners on this day.
Beautiful, thank you. Any public comment on administrative item 1?
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Ian Mann, for the record. On behalf of the family, we'd like to once again thank the Commission for this perfectly appropriate honor for my father. It's often said in the process of grieving the loss of a loved one that over time, eventually, we all reach a point where the memory of the loved one brings a smile before a tear. And for the family, I don't think we've reached that point quite yet, I know I haven't. But when we reach that point, this moment will be one of those things that generates that smile. So thank you again. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say a special word to Commissioner Greenwell. I note that in the press coverage of the governor's appointment, the phrase was often used that you were appointed to fill the seat of the now late Frank Mann. And I think my father would disagree. This seat was not his. This seat belongs to the people of the county of Lee. And he always remembered that. And we would ask that you remember that and hope and trust that you will, and do that in your small way to honor his service. And remember, that seat belongs to the citizens of Lee County, as do all the commission seats, and always act in that trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? We'll come back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chair, may I make the motion for approval? You and I both, I think, have served with Frank the longest, and it would be an honor to be able to make the motion for approval, and I'd hope you'd second it.
Second. Any other discussions? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Hammond, for bringing it up to front of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Frank and family, for decades of service. We appreciate it.
Okay, going to the consent agenda. Item to be pulled for discussion. Commissioner Wayne, do you have any items?
Number 44, I'd like to pull.
Number 44? Okay. Commissioner Sandelli? No. I have none. Commissioner Hammond?
I have none this morning.
Commissioner Greenwell?
I have none. Oh, appointments. You said appointments. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, Commissioner, did you want to pull anything off of the consent? No.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any public comment on the consent agenda? Okay. Motion to approve the balance of the items except number 44.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Number 44, Commissioner Wayne.
Just want some clarity. Obviously, it's a $731,000 increase. Obviously, it's involving the environment, which I'm a big proponent of. Just want some additional clarity.
Mr. Chair?
Randy?
Thank you.
Roger.
Randy?
Good morning, Commissioner. Randy Searchy, Lee County DOT. This bridge project, we began the PD&E back in 2016. We had the designer on board, Kissinger Campo. On these larger projects, over the years, we found that it's almost better to analyze what we do with the post-design services after we get through the design. So in the post-design services, they'll be reviewing shop drawings, monitoring all the environmental permits we have. There's just a plethora of things that need to be done afterwards, and we sometimes we give that to the CEI rather than the original designer. This designer worked really well with us, so we negotiated after the bid for this post-design service to stay with him. The monies were in the contract or within the budget. It's not like we added extra monies for it.
Just want some clarity. I'm more than fine with that explanation.
Great. Thank you. Any public comment on number 44? Being none, we'll come back to the board.
I'll move the item.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Administrative item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, this morning we are asking you to approve the proposed fiscal year 22-23 ad valorem rates for trim notice and set the public hearing dates. Mr. Winton, will you please present the item?
Yes, Commissioners, this item is for the maximum millages, and it's for the truth in millage notices that will be sent by the property appraiser to property owners this month. And it also, as Roger said, sets the public budget hearings on September 6th and September 20th at 5:05 p.m. for completion and adoption of the fiscal year 22-23 budget. Millages cannot be increased after this date, but they can be decreased.
Great. Thank you. We'll come back to the board. Anything else, Roger?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any public comment on administrative item number 2? Come back to the board for a motion or discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, so what we're doing today is we're actually going to set the maximum property tax rate called the millage rate for next year, and we're going to set it at the same exact rate we charged last year, which means going forward we can't increase that rate any further. I'm very supportive of that idea. The other thing that we're going to do today is this will put out an advertisement called the trim notice, the truth and millage notice to everybody who owns property in Lee County so they can see what that rate is going to do with their new property values as well. So I support this motion, and I'll make the motion for approval.
I'll second that, just with the caveat, and I appreciate your explanation, Commissioner Hammond. We do have the ability to go down from here.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my second, and that was my comment.
You both said second. I think I heard-
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
I heard your comment on the record, but I think you actually said it first. But
No problem.
No, fine.
Roger wanted to say something, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, and this is just for the public's sake, to mention that, we've had this year a very large increase in property values at about 18%, but that does not mean that people's property tax bill will increase by 18%. In the state of Florida, under the homestead exemption law, taxable values for residential properties may only increase annually by 3% or less, and for commercial properties, there is a 10% cap on the increase in property taxes.
Save your homes. Thank you. Commissioner Wayne?
So just again, a great point of explanation, Roger. So really, if we were to lower the millage rate, the only people we're really going to impact, not the 3% or not the 10%, is the people outside that bucket.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Great. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any objection? Objection. Motion carries. Thank you. We have the public hearings.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Joe Adams with the County Attorney's Office. I have your first two public hearings. These hearings have been properly advertised, and I have the affidavits of publication for your clerk. Public hearing 1 is a petition to vacate the public interest in the public utility easement located at 18041 River Chase Court in Alva, Florida. If there's any questions, we have to answer them.
Any questions for staff at this time? Okay. Any public comment on public hearing number 1? Being none, we'll come back to the board. For a motion?
Mr. Chairman, seeing that there are no objections from the public utility providers and no other affected property owners, then I'll second Commissioner Greenwell's motion if you'd like to, since it's his district, but
I'd
if
like
not,
to motion I'd like to motion, yes.
motion approval, and I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Greenwell and a second by Commissioner Hammond. Thank you. Any objections? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Item number 2.
Public hearing 2 is a hearing to adopt an ordinance dissolving the Verona Community Development District. The district's been declared inactive by the state of Florida, and as such, the board is to dissolve it.
Great. Thank you. Any public comment? Item number 2, public hearing. We'll come back to the board for a motion.
I'll move approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any other discussion? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 3, are we still looking to defer that? Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Amanda Swindle with the County Attorney's Office. I have your third public hearing this morning. If you recall, this hearing was originally scheduled for June 7th, at which this board voted to continue the hearing until today. Staff is now requesting a second continuance of this item to August 16th to continue working with the industry representatives to just really get the regulations right.
I'll move the continuance, Mr. Chairman, as requested by staff.
I'll second that as well.
Motion. We have a second to continue to August 16th. Any public comment on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just a reminder that that will be August 16th at 9:30 or soon thereafter as may be heard.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion second. No public comment. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Public hearing number 4. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrea Fraser, the County Attorney's Office. I have your number 4 public hearing. I have the affidavit of publication and find it legally sufficient in form and content to proceed with the hearing at this time. I'm providing same to the clerk for incorporation into the minutes.
Great. Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Come back to the board.
I'll move approval.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5.
Commissioners, again, Amanda Swindle. I have your 5th, 6th, and 7th public hearings this morning, and each have been legally advertised. The fifth public hearing is to adopt amendments to the agreement with FGCU regarding their campus master concept plan. This is in accordance with Florida statutes.
Great, thank you. Any public comment on item number 6? Come back to the board for a motion.
I'll move the item.
We have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7, Amanda?
This is number 6, I believe.
6, okay.
Six.
Sorry, 6, sorry. I got one ahead of you.
Public hearing number 6 is to adopt and certify the non-ad valorem special assessment rolls for 31 separate municipal service benefit units. This action will allow those assessment costs to be added to the property tax bill for those properties that have been benefited by those projects.
Great, thank you. Any public comment on item number 6? Come back to the board for discussion.
I'll move the item.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carries.
Okay, and your final public hearing this morning. This is a public hearing to approve a resolution to establish the solid waste disposal and solid waste system assessment rates for this year. In addition, staff is also requesting a rate adjustment for both commercial and residential franchise haulers in accordance with those contracts, and is also requesting that you direct that the special assessments be placed onto the tax roll.
Thank you. Any public comment, item number 7? Come back to the board for discussion.
I motion to move forward.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second, Commissioner Sandelli. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. No walk-on carryovers. Move on to commissioner items. Commissioner Wayne, do you have a commissioner items? You have one.
I do. I actually have, one's on the recap. You want to do that now?
Yes.
Okay. So, gentlemen, if you recall, we had a discussion up here that I'd asked for the opportunity to work with staff to perhaps look at the farmers market regulations we have, to go through the necessary changes we thought to obviously give first a demand to allow farmers markets to take place for 12 months. Obviously the economic impact, and they're a special thing. With that, the farmers market ordinance that's on the books, amendments that were necessary as we've evolved. It's been a long time since we've actually looked at this. I've worked very careful with staff to try to do that. We've got together with the people that run most of the farmers market, had discussions with them. Staff has given us indications of some red highlights that are in this proposed regulation. I am certainly comfortable with them all. I think the important things to note is the objective I spoke to you gentlemen about is having this for 12 months. B, I wanted to give the opportunity within the farmers market, having been on Sanibel, 20% of the booths, and no more than 20% of the booths, were for other items that may contribute but not necessarily produce. We also allowed one of the booths, which it was most important at farmers market, to let a nonprofit have an opportunity to be in that booth, to be able to engage with the public. It's a great time to have them do that, and they've agreed to do that as well. So the caveat in here is that it'll be a farmers market. We certainly want to avoid any type of concept of a flea market, but only 20% would be the cap, no more than, in the number of booths they would have. Those are the changes proposed before you. The red line are all what staff had indicated. What I'd like certainly is to have them move forward, to have a cleaned up version, have it come on back to us. But I wanted to give you all the opportunity to see the changes and the work that's been done to try to obviously move this forward.
Any other discussions?
Yeah, I'm supportive of seeing this on a future agenda, Mr. Chairman. The changes seem to make sense, especially when you think about our climate here. We're a year-round climate. You can be outdoors all year round, and so these seem to be great events where the community comes together.
Thank you.
Mr. Greenwell, you probably been involved with these yourself personally. With
Yes,
private business.
I think the farmer markets are a very important part of our community, and the more of those kind of markets we have, the less we have to travel far to go to grocery stores, and it obviously protects the environment if we're growing produce or selling produce in our neighborhoods.
So did you need a vote for that, a consensus, or?
With that in mind, I certainly would like to direct staff to come back, obviously, with a clean version, and we'd have an opportunity to adopt that.
Okay, so that's your motion?
That's my motion. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
I'll second that. And any public comment on this motion? Okay, we'll come back to the board. We have a motion and a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Wayne.
I do have a second item.
Go right ahead.
So yesterday I had the opportunity to obviously meet with staff, but as well had the opportunity to work with Noah Valenstein. For many of you that may not know, Noah Valenstein was in charge ahead of the DEP, certainly under Governor Scott as well as Governor DeSantis. He brought to our attention there is an opportunity for many grants that may be available for stormwater, for wastewater. The application deadline is August 15th. Just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, certainly brought it with Roger's attention. He certainly had indicated he would give us some opportunities for some things we might want to identify to make sure we maximize it. If we do not have an application in, and we could put in an application as a placeholder, it allows us the opportunity to potentially pursue that whether we want to or not. If we don't put an application in, our opportunities may be lost. So I'm just trying to have some urgency because we're not going to meet in time to obviously have an application filed. So I'd like to certainly make sure I have the opportunity to work with staff to do everything we can to maximize the grants necessary for stormwater, for wastewater, any other opportunities he might think. With his institutional knowledge, I've had a working relationship. He and I work together on the South Florida Ecosystem Restoration Task Force, have a long-standing relationship. I think he has a lot of insight how the DEP works. I just want to do what's best for Lee County and actually just bring to your all attention the opportunities. Natural resources, I'm comfortable and very confident they could work with it. I just want to, bring this to our attention and not let it slip through the cracks.
Thank you. Roger, do you need consensus or do you need any direction on that?
Mr. Chair, consensus is fine. I believe we will prepare necessary documents to be submitted before the 15th.
Okay, everybody agree, disagree with that? Action?
Mr. Chairman, part of that would also be to authorize the required official to execute those documents on behalf of the county, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And my motion would be the chair.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. Anything we can help get money for that, for the stormwater, would be great. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else, Commissioner Wong?
No, those are my commissioner items.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Sandelli, do you have anything?
No.
You
Okay.
want that as a motion?
Well, it was a consensus, so that's fine.
Okay.
Consensus is fine? Okay.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sandelli, you don't have anything? Commissioner Hammond, do you have any commissioner items?
No items today, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Greenwald, anything special you want to bring up besides the appointments? We'll do those later, but do you have any other commissioner items or anything?
No, I have an appointment later.
Great, thank you. I have two real quick, and thank you for your patience. First of all, we've been, obviously this last month's been a great month for Lee County. We lost Commissioner Manning last week, and I think it'd be fitting that I cannot make the motion to share, but I'm going to bring this up, and hopefully I'm going to get a motion in a second for the Lee County to recognize Commissioner Manning's years and decades of service to Lee County and the city of Cape Coral by renaming the building located at 1039 Southeast 9th Place, Cape Coral, the Lee County government building there, the Commissioner John Manning building.
I would like to move that item, Mr. Chairman.
I would like to second that, especially considering I'm sitting in his seat.
We have a motion, we have a second, and I think it's fitting. Commissioner Manning worked there many years, and in Cape Coral, the capacity of Cape Coral, then in Lee County, he used that facility for his office in Cape Coral, and this is definitely fitting. So to direct staff, then the motion would include direct staff to bring that resolution back later to rename that building. So great, thank you.
Agreed, that's my motion.
Okay, and the next one is, this happened over our July break. The city of Fort Myers had, back in January, they had like a voluntary annexation piece of property. If I could get that slide up, if staff has that, to show the piece of property. This, for everybody can understand where this is. This is Daniels Parkway, east and westbound, and this parcel of property is on the northeast corner of Daniels and Tree Line. That was under the Lee County Trade Port Commerce zoning that was made for trade port for commerce, and it's by the airport. The property owners voluntarily annexed into the city of Fort Myers back in January of this year, which was fine. They voluntarily did that. I personally think it's a land grab of the city, but we've been dealing with that for years. Commissioner Hammond, you brought this up a couple years ago. Fort Myers City is trying to cross the river, and we deal with it Pine Island too from the Cape side. The problem I have with this is when I was contacted by residents over the last year or two is the city made promises to property owners that they would increase their density extremely to 1,200, from 64 acres of 64 units to over 1,200 units of residential housing. But they had no access on Daniels Parkway. They had no access on Daniels, only on Tree Line based upon a service road. Through the process, I think the property owners had been told, and it's actually in the documentation of the city's last meeting, they were told that the county would grant access to Daniels Parkway. Randy, could you come, are you here? They had been worked with, staff had already denied access to Daniels Parkway. If you're familiar with that road, there's a service road on the north side of Daniels Parkway. They wanted access on the north side. If Randy, if you can point at that, where they wanted access in and out, which would destroy the traffic flow on Daniels Parkway. My request is we send a letter, my office, to the city when this went to rezone last week to say that the county was not providing access and nor we were providing utilities. The city is also stating that the county was going to provide utilities and it would also be treated by the Gateway Service District sewer plant, which Gateway had no knowledge of that. This in their documentation was on their agenda. So we have a letter, and I have a letter here from Pam Keys from Utilities and Randy Searchy as far as traffic, saying there was no access. So Mike asked for the board is we have consensus to work with community development and our attorney's office send another letter to the city saying that based upon our DOT and utilities, we are not going to provide, and do the state also, the state's not granting the city water access to either, that we're not going to allow access to Daniels at this time and utilities. Randy, you have any history you want to talk about?
Yes, good morning again, Commissioners. This area has access at the tree line here, and it also has a frontage road, Shana Court, running parallel to Daniels, and you can see it comes up here and has access to the other side of Chamberlain as it crosses over Daniels. The concerns we have are few. There's no access resolution point described here. It wasn't contemplated to have access on Daniels. Its proximity to tree line, the traffic queues back to roughly here when in westbound traffic waiting for the red lighted tree line during peak hours, so to have any access point there would be problematic. The biggest problem we have is cars coming out of any access point granted here, wanting to go south on tree line, would have to weave across 3 lanes of arterial traffic there to get in that left lane. That creates potential conflict points, potential accidents. That's our concern.
And if I could have staff put the other picture up, that was the actual photo taken in the morning. So this is at 7:30 in the morning on Daniels Parkway, westbound. You're about a mile from I-75. That property that we just saw illustrated is on the right-hand side, on the other side of the hedge. This is Daniels Parkway currently now. This is why we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars with the Three Oaks Extension and Alico trying to relieve the traffic off of Daniels. This is 3 lanes going westbound. You can see the line, the sign is off in the further distance. That's I-75 leading up to that tree line there. So this is morning commute on Daniels currently. It backs up to almost the JetBlue during the season in the mornings till at least 10 o'clock in the morning. That's what my concern is. My also concern is the health and safety. Currently, right now in the city of Fort Myers, we currently had to do an local agreement for drinking water for the city. They do not have the capacity to provide water to this property. The owners are being told that they could get water from the county. The county has said no to that, the letter that you have in front of you. So my request is there a consensus to continue our discussions with the city and give them the notice that we do not support access to Daniels Parkway nor water for this property they had annexed into the city off of Daniels Parkway. So if somebody could, is there consent? You need consensus for that, Richard, or you just need a motion?
Mr. Chairman, given the nature of the request, I think a formal motion by the board would carry more impact.
Okay.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment? We do have one card for this. Carol Borecki. And I will tell the board, there's hundreds of residents that wanted to come speak on this, but I asked them to give us time to discuss this. And Carol represents, so if you could, Carol, introduce yourself, tell us who you represent.
Good morning. My name is Carol Brocky. I'm a resident of Pelican Preserve. I'm also the president of the Residents Alliance, which is a group that protects the interests of the over 4,500 residents that we have in Pelican. I'm here today in support of Commissioner Pendergrass's item. The other communities along the tree line corridor, are also in support of this issue. Especially Plantation, which shares a border with the 64 acres. The traffic issues, both Daniels and on tree line, and the water problems for this 64-acre on Daniels and tree line are of grave concern to the residents. And anything that can be done to help and support this issue, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Any other public comment? We'll come back to the board. We have a motion, a second. Any other discussions? Any objection? Thank you for your time on that. Okay, we'll go to committee appointments. Commissioner Wayne, do you have any committee appointments?
I do. I have a couple. My first reappointment is Roger Ward to the District 8 Health Planning Council.
We have a motion?
Oh, second, Mr. Chair.
Second. Any objections? I'm sorry, any public comment?
My second reappointment is to Paula McMichael under Land Development Code.
Do you have any more, or is this the?
Yeah, so, and my third is Jay Johnson under Land Development Code as well, reappointment.
Thank you. Any public comment on the other two? Being none, we'll come back to the board. We have a motion, we have a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Commissioner Sindelli?
Good morning. I have 3 reappointments, and all to the Land Development Code, so we can do this as one. Linda Stewart, William Pricey, and Patrick Vanessa, all to the Land Development Code.
I'll second that, Mr.
We
Chair.
have a second. Any public comment? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Hammond?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reappointments this morning. I'd like to reappoint Bob Knight to the Executive Regulatory Oversight Committee, Thomas Leonard to the Land Development Code Advisory Committee, and then 2 more to the Land Development Code Advisory Committee, Amy Tebow and Jennifer Sapin.
We have a motion. I'll second that. Any public comment? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Greenwell?
I have one appointee, Monty Winslow to Board of Adjustments and Appeals Committee.
Great. We have a motion. We have a second. Any public comment? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. I have a few here. If I could get a motion and a second. I have reappointment of Ed Bolter to the IDA, reappointment of Christopher Scott, Land Development Code, reappointment of Randy Chris, Land Development Code, reappointment of Jack Morris, Land Development Code, reappointment of Jennifer Evans, Roadway Landscaping.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Come back to board. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. County manager items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No items today.
Okay. County attorney.
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
You guys are quiet today. Okay, at this time we have public comment by matters of citizens. Danny Ballard.
Good morning, Commissioners. Danny Ballard, North Fort Myers Civic. And I have something I'm going to read this morning. This is in retrospect to Leroy Nottingham. There's a lot of you up here, a lot of people in the county that had ties with Leroy. Mike, I think you may have played baseball for him.
He was the head.
Brad, you met him numerous times. Cecil, you worked at Fort Myers PD when we was all at Fort Myers FD. So, with that, it is with a heavy heart that I share with you the news that we lost a great man last night. Leroy Nottingham served his community in the fire service for over 60 years. He served a career with the City of Fort Myers Fire Department, retiring as a captain. Leroy always served for many years as an elected fire commissioner with the North Fort Myers Fire District, serving many of those as chairman. During his fire service career, Leroy organized his fellow firefighters with Fort Myers Fire Department to join the International Association of Firefighters and served as president of that union negotiating many contracts that improved the lives of those he served with. Later, Leroy was instrumental in working to merge several small Southwest Florida international locals into one of the largest and most successful locals in Florida, representing over 1,100 firefighters and paramedics and one amalgamated professional local known as Southwest Florida Professional Firefighters and Paramedics, IFF Local 1826. Leroy also served as an executive board member to the Florida Professional Firefighters and worked tirelessly in Tallahassee for decades, working the halls during session, promoting bills that were beneficial to first responders and working against those that were detrimental. Along the way, Leroy also worked to improve coordination and cooperation among statewide Florida independent fire taxing districts. And he served as the IAFF representative to Muscular Dystrophy Association, where he appeared annually on the Jerry Lewis Telethon, helping to deliver the boot drive funds to the MDA. And on top of all of this, he coached many young men in Little League and Pop Warner football, including a few that made it to the NFL and Major League Baseball. To say that he will be greatly missed is an understatement. And I would like to say thank you to Leroy.
Thank you, Danny. He touched many lives, that's for sure. The next speaker, Willie Joe Schottmauer.
I'm pleased to see that Mr. Mann was honored. He was seemed a very sympathetic and kind man, and welcome. I'm an advocate along with other people for a lot of people that are homeless, some by choice, a lot of them aren't. And it's the affordable housing that is needed. And I know the affordable housing is so-called being built. You were at a meeting that I was at last night. But the thing is, where are people going to go until then? We need some kind of system where there's affordable emergency housing, like a youth hostel city that's bringing in revenue to aid with the needs of having affordable housing. You have so many places that could be rehabbed. Human Services at one time did that. Mr. Makata, I noticed there were some houses there when I was met Mr. Wallace. It is very active in the community, very kind, working hard to better is along with a lot of the people with the hot team. Not all the hot team is very knowledgeable or committed. Is Mr. Wallace and young lady Christiana and a few others, a young man that's, I can't think his name, Gabriel or something with the beard. But working together we can, city and county, state, and private citizens. We can eliminate this problem. Working together, getting the seed money to do this. So that's my goal, is to, as a nonprofit, Jasmine is nonprofit, but the thing is not one nonprofit. A continuum of care of nonprofits is the only way it's going to work. When you've got over 2,000 people, you got Lee, you got Cape Coral, you got homeless all over. North Fort Myers. Working together as a continuum of care, we can eliminate that problem. It's going to take time, but people need to be off the street now. And they need to pay something if they can, or get the funding if they are disabled or whatever. As I said, working together, we can do that. I'm asked to wait tables today at one of the pantries and other things, and got some work to do, but you've got my phone number. Like I said, we can all work together. Thank you. God bless.
Any other public comment at this time? Okay, we'll come back. County Manager, would you like to give us an update for the workshop today?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, this afternoon at 1:30, we will be having a conversation and present to you the second draft for the fiscal year 22-23 budget. Also, we'll be having a conversation and asking for direction on distribution of the gas tax.
Great, thank you. Also, if I could, by the end of the week, I know we talked about it yesterday, could I get an update by the end of the week where we are with the City of Palms? We had that agreement last year as far as demolishing that. If I could get an update, because I think that date's coming up next month. So,
yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Okay, at this time, any public comment on the workshop at 1:30 today? Okay, we'll come back to the board. Before we adjourn, any discussions or comments or anything? Commissioner Greenwell, congratulations again. Welcome. Hope we didn't go too fast for you.
I'll catch up.
I got trained by Commissioner Manning, so I'm just trying to get through this as fast as possible. So.
Not as fast.
Okay, thank you. We are adjourned. See you at 1:30.